Okay, so we'll get started. Thank you for joining today's webinar. My name is Nate, and I'm an account executive at CodeHS. So what I do is I help schools and teachers all over the world get set up on our platform and teach teachers a little bit more about our curriculum. And today's webinar is going to be about CodeHS Pro. And yeah, so again, my name's Nate, and also my co-host MR is joining me today. So I'm going to be running through the platform, and she's going to be helping me field questions here. And so although today's webinar is going to be more pro focused, I just want to make sure if there's anyone who's new to CodeHS or who hasn't had an opportunity to do so yet, you can create a free account with us here. So you can just enter in the URL codehs.com/sign up, and you can create an account during this or after, whichever you'd prefer. So to break things down a little bit further, what we're going to do is we're going to spend a few minutes going through the class setup. So, take things away from Pro Focus just for a second, where we can walk through how to actually create a section and enroll students to get the ball rolling there. And then we're going to go through a few key Pro highlights. So we're going to go through assignments. We're going to go through grading and tracking student progress. We're going to touch on lesson plans, and then we're going to wrap up from there. So I'm going to switch my screen here to the platform, and I'm going to be pausing momentarily between features if there are any questions. But just because we have about 30 minutes here, and I want to make sure I give you as much as I possibly can, let's do our best to save the questions for the end. Okay, so this is our main page, our roster page or section page, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. But what I'm going to do to start off here is walk through how to actually create a CodeHS section and then to enroll your students in it. So from this, home page here, you can click Create a Section. And then from here, I can name it whatever I want. I'm going to do Nate's Awesome CS Class. And I can put in the title here. I can also choose to import from Google Classroom. That is a feature that's available regardless of which plan you're on. And then from here, it's going to bring up different courses that I can choose to actually link the section to. So whatever I want this section to be, all the students are going to be enrolled in a single course. So I can choose Python 3 here, for example. And that's going to bring me to my roster page. So from here, there's a couple different ways you can invite students. So you can invite them via email, or you can actually send them this URL, which as soon as they enter it in their web address bar, it's going to link them directly to the roster page, and then they'll be enrolled. Alternatively, if the students haven't created a CodeHS account yet, when they actually walk through creating the account, they can choose to be enrolled into your class through this class code right here. So once all that's done, we have all the students enrolled, we're going to have a working section, and I'm going to bring up my demo section here to show you what that's going to look like. Okay, so I have 8 dummy students here. And from this roster page, I'm able to see their progress. There's some different administrative features here on the side. So I can click on here and I can look at their student view. I can change their password. I can change a few settings. I can award badges. And then there's practice problems, as well as starting a conversation with an individual student. So, this is kind of the overview page. And from here, we have everything set up where we can click into individual students and actually see the course that they're taking and see, how they're actually progressing through the material. Okay, so that's how you get a section set up with CodeHS. If you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat or Q&A at the top. And we'll go ahead and answer those. Okay. And as far as it looks like I have a question about, creating a lesson and modifying material, which it looks like that, is what's being alluded to there. I'm going to go ahead and go into that feature here right now. So what that's called is assignments. Good segue. And, this is the course that's assigned to my section. In this case, the dummy section is assigned to Intro to JavaScript. So from here, as you can tell, I'm able to see all the modules or units. And I'm able to modify anything. So I can change these lessons. I can add lessons. I have control to completely customize this course. So from the edit, I'm able to do so with the modules. I'm able to add different material from here. And then I'm going to show you an example of this in a second. But if I break it down further, actually, let's go to JavaScript. It's a little more challenging. If I click on the 3 dots here, I'm able to add a new assignment. I'm able to move the modules within the unit, and I'm able to remove them altogether. So for instance, let's say I want to add something custom to JavaScript and graphics. I'm going to go ahead and click add new assignment here. And I'm able to walk through what type of exercise I actually want to add. So let's say I want to add a quiz, I can click on that and it's going to bring me through prompts that's going to help me do that. So I can create a question here and, I can put together a quiz that's actually going to be added to that unit that my students are going to be able to access. So that's one feature if you want to actually create your own your own addition to the course itself. Again, this is all student facing. And you can actually search for different content at the bottom here. So that's important to make note of too. If you don't want to go the extra mile and actually, customize your own material there, you can also take from different curriculum that we have available. So you can do so with these different supplemental materials here. Or there's going to be our course catalog, handouts, and a few other resources as well. So yeah, that's our assignments feature. This is something that is available through free or pro with some more functionality on the pro plan. But ultimately, it's going to allow you to take our existing courses and create new material for it, or just modify it to fit your needs. Okay. So I'm going to pause for about 30 seconds here, just in case anybody has a question they want to type out. And then we'll move on to the grading features. Okay. So to highlight one of the big differences between the free and the pro plan, grading is going to be significant. So on the free plan, things are a little bit more manual, as I'm sure a lot of you know, attending a pro webinar. There's going to be more clicks, and you're going to be clicking into a student through the roster page, which I just showed you, and then clicking into the IDE itself to actually grade student work. One of the features that we've added to the pro plan is what's called fast grade. And what this is it's going to give you a queue of all your student work, and it's going to show you a side-by-side comparison with the solution code. So for instance, I'll walk through an example right here. We can see the student code, the solution code, and looking through it, it looks like it is 100% correct. One of the features I always love to point out of this is you're actually able to run the code to make sure. This is a pretty short code, but it can get pretty lengthy at times. So running it can sometimes help to show you where there might be a mistake in the code. And so I can actually see, what the student's seeing in their IDE and what they've been working on. And yeah, from here, I can actually award the grade. So, it's a perfect match with the solution code. So I'm going to give that a 9 out of 9. Tell Charlotte she did a great job. and I can finalize it or I can send it back as needs work. So this is going to show on their side whether it's been finalized or it does needs work. And it's also going to be color coded for them like this too. So in this case, it is 100%. So I'm going to finalize it. And what it's going to do is it's going to flip right to the next student here. And I can actually just go down them in a line to grade all of these student submissions. So along with the fast grade, a feature that you would be getting through the pro plan. It looks like we have a couple questions here. So, okay. And so one of the grading features will be the grade book. And on top of fast grade, so everything is going to be synced with this, and it's actually customizable. So you can see all of my student names are right here along the y-axis, and along the x, it's going to be all of the exercises that the students have been working on. So this is going to be color coded as well. You can see the key up here. To run through this quickly, dark green is going to mean that work has been finalized by you. Magenta means it's been submitted after review. Pink means it's been reviewed. Green submitted. Yellow means it hasn't been submitted yet, but it has been worked on. And gray means it hasn't been opened. So I'm able to see that from this page, and I'm also able to see a numeric value as well as grades. So in both a letter grade and a percentage, and of course the actual score. So from here, I'm also able to configure it. I'm able to include different types of exercises, and I can display them as well. So there's a few different customizations we can make to the gradebook, including the actual weighing of the scores themselves, which which I can edit here. So if I do want to change the weighing, this is the CodeHS default, but I'm able to do that. Okay. So I'll pause for another 30 seconds here. And yeah, feel free to ask any questions that you have about our grading features. And, again, just to reiterate, all of this is going to be available through the Pro plan. Okay. So moving on from there, I'm going to review our progress tracking. And so this is going to be an additional page that's going to give you a lot more of a granular view on how your students are doing, all condensed into one area. So, this is something that would, again, be a little bit more manual on the free plan, where you would be entering into the roster page into students and actually monitoring it manually that way. But this takes out some of that, and it's going to give you that easy place to look at everything. So you can see here, it's going to follow the same key code as the gradebook. So everything's going to match like that and be uniform. And then I'm able to see how all of my students have been progressing through the entire course from this point. So this is fantastic to just, monitor your students and identify any patterns or trends among different exercises. Like maybe there's one exercise that students are having difficult with. So you can see 1.36 here. Carol turns right. We can see that students aren't doing that. So maybe that's difficult. Maybe I can take some extra time in class to review some of that material and make sure students can do it. And yeah, I'm able to go through and identify that. And also, if there is an activity that I want to take a look at, like let's say with Make a Tower here, this has been submitted. So I just want to see the different students' code. I'm actually able to click on that dot, and it's going to direct me right to the student's IDE, where I'm able to see everything. So, and one thing I do want to make note of too, and this goes for both the gradebook and the progress tracking, it is exportable into Excel and CSV. So you're able to do that both up here. All right. So I'm going to pause here for another 20 seconds or so. Feel free to ask any questions you have about progress tracking or just any of the features I've reviewed up to this point. And then I'll move on to lesson plans. So the lesson plans that we offer are very comprehensive. We have one for every single lesson and every single course that we offer. And I'm going to choose a little bit more of an advanced one here so you can get a better idea of how much material is included in them. Let's go to animation and games. Looks like a fun one. So this is great for two reasons. You know, as some of you might be a new teacher, you're going to have a lot of guidance through these lesson plans, picking up CodeHS for the first time, or just a lot of guidance with modifying what you've been doing as teaching computer science before that. But also, it's really nice to have one page that has just everything you need right here. So not only will you have links and different ways to look at all of the material that you'll be teaching, but you will have a lot of that additional guidance too. So to run through it, you start out with an objective here. So we're going to be able to see what we're actually going to be accomplishing that day in class. All of the activities within the lesson is going to be included here, and they're going to be linked so you can click on them and be redirected to them. You have the ability to print quizzes, and if it was here, video slides too. There are answer keys, of course. One of the great features that will be coming with the lesson plans are problem guides. So I'm actually going to click on one of these to show you an example, but they're going to take common student hurdles or questions, and they're going to be addressed here. So great, to help with the material as you're going through it, and students come up with different questions. So you're able to see the description of the lesson, the motivation behind it, the solution, and then there's going to be questions towards the bottom of the screen. There's different vocabulary terms, so very useful to read over before the start of the lesson. There's different handouts. So I have teachers who will give those as homework. You know, if you want to give it as supplemental material in class for those that might be moving a little bit faster through the material, you can certainly do that too. But it's strong supplemental material to the lesson that you're teaching. There's textbook resources, and then there's going to be a lot of help with different strategies and discussion questions. So you have lesson openers, different activities, closers, and then you have beginning and end discussion questions. So, I know a lot of you might want to pull students away from the computer just for a time, and this is a good way to solidify the material that they're learning, and actually having a thoughtful discussion around the material. And at the end of each lesson plan, you're also going to be able to see the standards all outlined there too. Okay. All right. So those are a few big highlights of the Pro plan. It's ultimately going to make managing your classroom and the whole teaching experience a lot easier. And there's going to be a lot that's going to change between the two plans. So I'm going to pause here. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Additionally, we do have a little bit of time left. So if there is anything that you'd like to briefly review, I'd be happy to do that too.
We have one question in the chat
Hmm?
that says, if we delete a lesson or module, can we get it back?
So if you delete it, well, if it's going to be something that is existing material, you can get it back very easily. If it's something you created, then that would be removed from the course, and that would not be something that's easy to get back. So if nobody has any more questions, I will touch on one more thing here that I think just could be very helpful for the school year, since we do have a few minutes left. But one of the features that we've been working a lot to develop this past year is our practice problems. Looks like there might be one more question here. Sorry, just pause for a second. See, Alex has another question. So the entire curriculum would show up in their account, or in their view, the student view. That's going to be what you've done through assignments. So if you remove something through assignments or you add something, it's going to appear on the student side. Yeah, but the entire thing will show up to them. Okay. So hopefully that answers your questions. And because this is bonus material right here at the practice problems, feel free to ask away if there's anything more. They can go ahead, but with the pro plan, we do have course controls too. So you will be able to block and unlock different modules, lessons, activities, so that students aren't able to access them. And you can also actually schedule them to open and close. Okay. So yeah, the practice problems, take a look at these for whichever course you do plan on teaching this year, just because there's a lot of great material that's going to help with what the students are learning. So for this, it's JavaScript, but you can get it in a few different languages here, of course. And then it's going to be split up into different categories. And to click on one here. Let's wait for this to load. It's going to bring you right into our IDE. So you're able to assign this to a student as additional material to practice. So it's going to be the exercise, and it's going to look very similar to the course material they're working through. But yeah, you have a lot of additional resources and material to provide your students through those practice problems. Okay. All right. So I want to pause for a few minutes here. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and I'll be happy to address them. Okay, so it looks like we have a couple questions here. As far as how you can actually get the upgraded version of CodeHS, you can reach out through a quote request form, or you can reach out to sales directly. That's sales@codehs.com. And we'd be happy to walk you through the process. Yes, and then how to block assignments. Yeah, that's going to be the course controls, which I would be happy to show. Yeah, a few minutes we have left here. That's strange. Sorry, just bear with me here 1 second. I'm not sure why that is coming up. I'm not sure why I'm having difficulty looking at this progress tracking right now, but if you'd like to look at it, I'd be happy to send anybody a quick video of what it looks like after this webinar. So sorry about that, but I'm not really sure the issue we're having here. Yes, I'd be happy to share the video. What you can do is just shoot me an email at nate@codehs.com. Jigna, I know we've talked recently. I'm happy to go ahead and send you the course control video.
I'm also going to drop a link into the chat for the, oh, Claire did it, for the access controls, since we weren't able to view it live, but you can learn more and use it in your own course by following the steps in that article that Claire just posted a link to.
Okay. Thank you, Claire. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here and go back here. Been through the questions here. I just wanted to add as a note, as we wrap up, we do have a pretty strong community. So if you do want to get involved in CodeHS further, there's a few different ways you can do it. You can become a CodeHS certified educator. There is a very active Facebook group. We have teacher-led workshops now, and you can follow us on either Twitter or Instagram. So I definitely encourage you to do that. All right. Well, thank you all for your time. If you have any specific questions, please feel free to reach out to me at nate@codehs.com, and I'd be happy to walk you through any of it. And yeah, thanks again for joining. Hope everyone has a great day.